In this video, I want to try to answer two questions for you. The first one is, what exactly is a dashboard? And secondly, how can it help you? So to answer the first question, it's actually easier to show you than it is to tell you. So we're going to do a walkthrough of a dashboard that was created, and you'll be able to see kind of practical use case scenarios of how it all functions and how it benefits you. But let's touch on that second question before we do our walkthrough. There are several key benefits to a dashboard. Saving time, avoiding errors and mistakes, representing a more professional appeal and brand, and of course, all of these things come back to that bottom line of profitability. I'll show you how all that comes together by walking you through an actual dashboard. This one in particular was created for Lux House Studio, a floral company doing high-end weddings and events. You know, the first thing that's going to jump out at you when you're looking at this is that it doesn't look like a typical Excel spreadsheet, and yet it is. That's one of the beauties of a dashboard. You are removing all of the distracting noise and elements that you don't need so that you can just focus on entering in the pieces of information that you need to and executing the functions that you need to. So we don't have all those cumbersome menu bars, we don't have headings, we don't have any of the stuff that's just going to distract us. Instead, we've created something that allows us to quickly enter in a couple pieces of information. In this case, an event name. We'll just call this the demo event. And you can see when I put that in, it immediately creates for us a file name based on today's date. And this can be changed if you want to just change it, or we can let it go with this default. This is what it's going to save the file as. Similarly, we can put in a new delivery date if necessary and a delivery location, or we can just save that for later. This is a nice little feature that allows them to start off with a certain number of recipes. So for this demo event, if they know they're going to need 3 different types of pieces created, they can go ahead and set these up right away. Obviously, this can be a lot more in depth. They can create more. We'll dig into that here in a little bit. But this gets us an initial setup to use this button, which is create a new project order form. And this is one of the beautiful things about this. That is going to save errors. This is something that when you're using a dashboard like this, you can build in features that prevent your team from making common mistakes. One of the common mistakes that happens is you end up saving over your template or another file. Let's say you go to copy a spreadsheet that you already have and you want to make changes to it, and you accidentally save that one without creating a separate one. So what this does is you drop in your information, click on the button, and voila, we are in. You see all the information is the same, but we're in a completely different spreadsheet. It's actually closed out the other form, which it remains as our initial template on the computer, and it has created for us an entirely new spreadsheet, which is utilizing the file name that we created. And it has created tabs down here that align with our recipes. So we have a tab for each recipe. We also have new buttons that have appeared, which didn't appear on the template, where we can save our progress, we can save and close, we can do some print options, and we'll get into these in a moment. This is designed for a floral company, but the same concept would work for any type of company. Let's say this was home remodeling. You could add in different areas, rooms of the house. And of course, if you custom design a dashboard, you can meet it exactly to whatever needs you have. If we go into the entrance piece, let's go ahead and create a few items. Since it's floral, we'll go ahead and stick with that theme, and we'll say they need 10 stems of roses in this entrance piece, and those Those cost $1.50 a piece from this vendor. We have a drop-down setup that they have their pre-selected vendors, and of course that can be custom designed and added easily for any business. If they need a different vendor, we can just switch over to our vendor tab, add a new vendor, and we'll just say this is the demo version vendor. And it just adds that in alphabetically here in our drop down list, so that now if we want to say add one case, let's see, one case of stuff at $100 from our demo version vendor. And let's see, they probably need a vase to put the roses in. And of course you can be as descriptive as you want in here. Obviously the team member creating these orders is going to be a lot more knowledgeable and skilled in what goes into this than I am. But if you look up in our front project, you can see our totals are updated. Plus, we have a totals tab here that is also taking our line items and giving the total. So let's say, for example, this entrance piece, maybe there's two different entrances, or we need one on each side of the entrance. So we can just increase our quantity to 2. And just like that, everything is updated, including our totals counts, so that the actual recipe doesn't need to change. We've only just simply changed the quantity, and everything is calculated for us. Again, saving time and saving errors. Okay, so if we go into our centerpiece, let's go ahead and enter in the stuff we're going to need for that. But again, we want to save us some time. So since perhaps we would want to go ahead and use some of the same items from that previous recipe, we're just going to use this button import items, and we're going to drop in all those items that we had from the last one. And now we can just update our quantity. We don't need any cases of stuff. So you know what, let's just delete that by clicking on the X there. We'll get rid of that one. For the vase, we just need one of those as well. But instead, let's add something else. Now we've created 2 recipes. Again, you can see everything's updated here. Centerpiece, maybe there's 10 tables. Let's say that they change the event and they want to go to 12 tables at a future date. Instead of having to change everything in here, you simply have to just change this number and you're done. So let's go ahead and drop in our last one. We'll import our items, which is going to pull from both previous pages. If we go to our totals again, you can see it's combined everything from all of those orders, and it's also taken into consideration the quantity of each. Everything is consolidated, aggregated. This total in here should then match this one. Let's save ourselves a ton more time and put together these orders for the vendors. So we've got this button that says generate vendor orders. We just simply click on that. And now suddenly we have 3 new tabs at the bottom, one for each of the vendors that we used in preparing those. And you can see only the item for this vendor is included here. We go to our demo version vendor, and only the items, we have a total of 4 cases. So again, it's aggregated from all recipes. So we've created separate sheets. When we did that, we also created 2 new buttons here so that we can get those ready for the vendors themselves. But let's say, oh my goodness, we just realized we need a 4th area. It's as simple as, let's change this to 4, and we can now name this one. We won't have a tab down here for it because we just added it here. So we just click this update recipe pages, and now we have the tab created that we need. Since this is 0, we'll just remove that one. All right, great. Now our totals, again, everything updated. Our vendors updated automatically. No need to update anything there. They're continuously updated as we go. So as I mentioned, we can prepare these for the vendor. So we could simply click export vendor PDFs. And what we just did is created a PDF file of each of these tabs right here, each of these vendor orders, and saved that in the same folder. So it's all saved together, and now you have a separate file to attach as a PDF for each vendor. You could also print this individual page simply here if you wanted to, and this is how your PDF looks, and this is how your print will look. Or we can go back to the primary page here, and we can use these up here to print all vendor orders or print all of our recipe pages. We also have an export vendor Excels, so this is going to create Excel files for each vendor. And so if we do this, it's creating a separate Excel file for that vendor. So we have a folder here that's our demo event, and we have in here all of our files that we needed. We have our PDFs, and we have our primary file, and then we also, for each vendor, have this Excel. The front page is now that vendor's order, and then it does include the recipes so they can see how that's broken out if necessary. And then you, of course, can decide which ones, whether you want to send the PDF or the Excel file or both, or just have them for your team reference. We'll close that, and again, all of this is saved separately from that initial file. And we can also do all kinds of other helpful little things in here. We have this notes section down here. We've also built in some fail safes to help avoid potential errors. Let's say we go in here after we've already created these vendor orders. These will update automatically, but let's say we go into one of these pieces and we add a new vendor that we haven't set up. If we go back here, we now have a warning here that says one or more vendor sheets need to be generated. So it's letting us know, hey, we've added a new vendor that we didn't create. So now we just generate vendor orders, and it will go ahead and add in that new one that we were missing. So, of course, you can custom design any of these types of features and safety measures to your specific needs, but you can see how quickly and efficiently all of this adds up to save you time, mistakes, and money. And it also looks great.